Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Joyce Prabhu here from Bangalore. I'm a wellness coach from the Wellness Coaching community, mother of two, and super excited to share about about this topic about microplastics. In fact, my transformation has been through from the community where I had lost almost 16 kgs of my post-pregnancy weight and have been able to maintain it for the past 5 years. I'm super blessed to belong to this association, which has helped me maintain my health and my family's health. Especially having teenagers watching us, when we build healthy habits, our kids follow what we do, not what we say, right? And here, over to my topic about microplastics, right? Yes. So here, microplastics is something what all of us think is only in the oceans, or plastics are only found in oceans. But yes, it starts from us, right? So here's a small question to all of us here. How much of microplastics do you think is present in a single cup of tea, which is made from a tea bag? Can you quickly type? Any idea? No Googling. Okay. So you'll be alarmed to know what exactly it is. Yes, exactly. It is 11.6 billion microplastics and 3.1 billion nanoplastics. What are microplastics? Microplastics are small plastic particles which have a 5 millimeter, which are 5 millimeter in diameter. And nanoplastics are plastic particles which are 1 micrometer in size, right? So here, let's dive into learning more about good, bad, and ugly about microplastics and plastics. So microplastics are everywhere. Only thing, it's not visible to our eyes, right? And there are tiny, very, very tiny particles which are present in the air. They are present in water. They are present in the food we eat. They are present in literally everything. And it is where do you think it enters? It enters into our body, and it is present even in the brain. It's present in your gut. Literally every part of your body has microplastics. Shocking, isn't it? So here, how are they in our environment? How do they enter into our body? So they have had a lot of autopsy results of a deceased person. Their brain had a lot of microplastics, be it a placenta of a newborn, right? It had microplastics. Meconium is the first motion that the child passes. That also contained microplastics, right? So how do these microplastics, how are they and how do they come into our environment? See, they are present in synthetic clothes, right? They are present in clothes like which are polyester, acrylic, nylon clothes, or spandex clothes. Most of the clothes that we wear have microplastics. They are also present in the household dust, carpets and upholsteries. All these have microplastics. Again, cleaning agents, artificial turfs. Artificial turfs is something which we put in for decoration purposes on our maybe on our terraces. But again, what happens is due to the heat and the UV rays, these artificial turfs also release microplastics. And while we are cleaning and dusting them, they enter into our lungs and into our body as well. Right? Be it building material, personal care products. Can you believe children's toys also have microplastics? So that's one way which is present in our environment. But how about the food we eat? The microwavable popcorns, right? Popcorn bags. They contain tons of microplastics. The water bottles contain microplastics, uh, plastic and paper cutlery, right? Many of us have switched to paper cups, but the lining of the paper cup has a lot of microplastics, right? Be it the tea bag, we just saw how much of microplastic is present in the tea bags, cling wraps, plastic food containers, Teflon coating in fact, Teflon coating is something where one of the ingredient is plastic, which they use to prepare the Teflon coating for our non-stick vessels, feeding bottles. Most of these have microplastics, right? Now, let's look into seeing what causes the leaching of microplastics, right? See, plastics are all around us, but what is that causes the microplastics to happen? It's basically friction. When you're washing your clothes, there's a lot of friction. There's a lot of scrubbing that you do. And again, while you dry your clothes in sunlight, it does produce a lot of microplastics, right? Heat, we get to see the plastic, the water bottle which you get, like a Bisleri bottle or whatever brand of water that you buy, a filtered water that you buy, it's good, but while the manufacturing process, it is health, it's good. It doesn't have microplastics. But while they transport it from one place to another, from the manufacturer to the retailer shop, it goes through a lot of hands, right? And what happens is it's also exposed to sunlight. Sometimes it's near the radiator of the vehicle, or sometimes it's like really a lot of sunlight. Or it's not only about the water, it's also about the soda cans, the juices that we get, the packed juices. All this, when it's exposed to heat or ultraviolet radiation, it produces a lot of microplastics, right? And also certain liquids, when it is in contact with certain fats, right? You're like a pickle, or be it, if it's not in the right plastic container, it also releases a lot of microplastics. Suppose you're having an acidic food like a sauce or ketchup, or be it something which is more of a lesser pH value, at that point in time, it tends to release microplastics. Like how even a Teflon coating, initially when you're using it, it's fine. It does not release any plastics, microplastics as such. But as it's getting exposed to heat over high temperatures, they release a lot of microplastics. Or be it the method of cleaning, while you're scrubbing your vessels, there's a lot of scratches that come on top of the vessel, which leads to a lot of release of plastics, micro and nanoplastics, right? And detergents and harsh chemicals, it all depends on the right kind of storage that is required for the right kind of ingredient. We'll get into more details about that. Now, here, how do we identify what is right, what is wrong? How do we get to know whether it's the right kind of a plastic that we are going to purchase? Because obviously, all of us have no choice but to purchase what is available to us, and we can't worry over, okay, this has microplastic, can I use it, can I not use it? Now today we want to break this myth that how to identify what is right and what is wrong, right? Here, in every plastic container that we buy, right, there or like anything that holds a plastic container, when you flip the bottle upside down, there's a small triangle. This is the triangle of chasing arrows. Now henceforth, all of us will start seeing through this triangle of chasing arrows. It has numbers. It has numbers from 1 to 7, right? And these numbers help customers identify what would be the right thing for us and how we can use it, and whether it's recyclable, or whether it can leach some kind of chemicals like BPA, bisphenol A, bisphenol S, phthaleins. All these are chemicals which are potential for health, which would lead to health conditions, right? So here we can identify that, and let's look into how we can identify this in a very simple way. Now here we have a list of what are the different types of the RIC. RIC is the resin index code as such, sorry. So here, this is the triangle of chasing the arrows. Here we have 1 to 7, right? This is the standard standard numbering that we have, and this is given for each quality of plastic, right? The RIC number 1 is given for a PET bottle, like your Bisler, your Aquafina bottles, or packaged juices. The thing why this RIC number is given, to know how safe it is for usage, whether to use or not to reuse. Many of us, we have seen there's a lot of plastic bottles that people get, but it's getting reused. Like, for example, a Sprite bottle or a Coke bottle that comes, it gets filled with water, it goes into the refrigerator during the summer times. So never to reuse is what is advisable for this. Why? Because this has a potential to grow germs, and it also has a very high potential to leak chemicals. So what we need to do, instead use a copper or a steel bottle. Best thing is carry a water bottle wherever you go, a steel bottle, fill it with the water available. If you have no choice, change as soon as you buy a juice or you buy something, shift it to a steel bottle so that you can store it in a healthy way. The second kind of thing is the HDPE, high density polyethylene. This is something which is used for pickles, sauces, edible supplement bottles, even oil containers. Most of this have this triangle too. This is safe for reuse, not that we will be reusing it. Always best when something comes in plastic, because we do not know how it has been transported from the manufacturer till our hand. Whatever comes in plastic, best is to change it to a steel or a glass bottle, right? They are non-toxic, low leaching potential, safe. They don't release any kind of phthalates or BPA. So it's quite safe to use this, but best is to be on a safer side. Right. Next is the PVC. PVC is usually used for for the pipes constructions and all these. But sometimes what happens, we have inflatable toys, like the toys where we can fill it with water for children to play. The cling wraps. So all these are quite toxic. When you see a PVC kind of a toy, you can identify how much chemicals are used in this by the smell itself. You wouldn't want your child to enjoy at the cost of their health, right? So here this contains hormone disrupting phthalates. I'll explain more about what is hormone disrupting phthalates in the next few slides. But instead, avoid these kind of toys. And if you're using something for a cling wrap, use a banana leaf to wrap your food, right? And again, the next would be a low density polyethylene. This is something which is used in grocery bags, in milk and dairy products. It's safe for cool items, but it melts easily. So always switch to glass bottles and steel containers. The next would be the triangle 5 is a PP polypropylene. Here, this is the highest quality of plastic, right? And this is something which we can use, but we need to use it with certain limitations. We cannot overheat it. We cannot see here the melting point is between 130 to 171. Many a times we have microwave safe kind of materials, plastic vessels that plastic containers that we get, but it's not that the container is good for cooking. It is just good for mild to moderate heating. It is not for something where you can cook a meal with a microwave container, right? Because each plastic has a melting point, and beyond that it causes damage. Again, scratch, it's not scratch resistant. If there's a small scratch, again you get into unwanted chemicals, unwanted plastics leaching over your food. The next thing would be the triangle 6. This is something which is used for tea stalls, for disposable cups and thermocol plastics. We've seen more about this previously, and this leaches and causes cancer. So might as well, when you go for a thing, either you carry your own cup, a ceramic cup, or you have your tea or coffee at home. That would be the better option rather than using a plastic or a paper cup, right? And the last one happens to be the 7, triangle 7, where baby bottles, fancy sippers, snack wrappers. Snack wrappers also have, after going through so much, I have been watching a lot about these triangles in whatever I see, whatever I buy. So it's something where snack wrappers do have a triangle 7, but it's really not sure whether it's BPA free, right? And again, it's always better to read a lot of labels before we go ahead with purchases, right? So the next slide would be what happens when there's microplastics that enter into our body. Microplastics, once they enter into our body, they cause a lot of havoc. they are not root cause of any kind of health conditions, but they associate with many conditions leading to health diseases. Like for example, when there's a lot of microplastic that gets into the gut, it disrupts the gut microbiome, causing a lot of permeability, leading to leaky gut. Means to say, it allows the food particles or the bacteria to enter into the blood, which again leads to something where the body thinks there's a foreign particle that is entered. Let me start producing more of immunity cells, and it leads to inflammation, right? Many people, many studies have shown that people with IBS have a lot of microplastics in their stools, right? And also, this leads to something which is like metabolic syndrome, wherein you tend to have a lot of metabolic issues where you're not able to, your nutrients are not getting absorbed properly. You end up having a lot of conditions like diabetes or obesity is one more, which is all starting from the gut, right? Microplastics enter and they remain in the gut lining, and they disrupt the entire gut lining. So this also causes a lot of imbalance in the good and bad bacteria as such in the stomach lining. And the next would be neurotoxicity. Many people have had a lot of microplastics in the brain, and this leads to again the brain cells confusing the microplastic for an or foreign body, causing a lot of inflammation, creating a lot of immunity cells, which leads to a lot of inflammation. Dementia is one thing what we have seen, where they have seen a lot of people having microplastics in their brain. It could be one of the reasons, right? Cardiovascular effects. Many a times, atherosclerotic plaques. These are plaques which are formed in the arteries, leading to heart issues, right? So this is something, many atherosclerotic plaques have microplastics, right? And more importantly, respiratory issues. Because these microplastics are tiny, tiny particles. They are in nanomicroplastics or nanoplastics as such. They are very easy to enter into our respiratory tract. It enters into our upper lung, lower lung, and settles there. And this leads to a lot of inflammation and mucus production, especially if a person who's already having asthma, then they are more prone to having more of asthmatic attacks when they are exposed to these kind of toxins. And last but not the least, the endocrine disruptors. The word might sound little complex, but let me simplify this for you. What is endocrine disruptors? Let's imagine you have a house which has or you have a lot of locks in front of you, and you have a lot of keys, right? Now, what happens is these microplastics go and block the slots, which are the key slots, right, in the lock. It goes and blocks it. And you're not able to insert the key. Means to say, in simple terms, where the endocrine hormones, like in endocrine, the hormones like the male and female hormone has to do its activity, these microplastics go and block those receptors, right? And what happens is it mimics the hormones. It mimics the hormones, and thereby this leads to a lot of fertility issues. It also leads to a lot of growth issues for children. Hence, these microplastics are small particles, but creates a big havoc in our body. Let's watch through how we can avoid and eliminate these microplastics from our food, from our body. Like it's already entered, right? Now we'll have to see how we can eliminate them, how we can do our best to overcome these microplastics. Because here, having a lot of fiber-rich food helps with adding more bulk to your stools and flushing out the toxins which are already sitting inside the body. Antioxidants help reduce inflammation, right? And pre-probiotics, it increases the good bacteria in your gut and reduces the bad bacteria, right? So pre-probiotics really help enrich your gut health, right? And along with this, the next four ingredients are cruciferous vegetables, milk thistle, turmeric, dandelion. All these help the liver cells to do its function properly. Liver is like the mother of the house. Like it helps with flushing out, enhancing the how the body can flush out a lot of toxins, right? So liver plays a big role in flushing out the microtoxins and having more of. What are cruciferous vegetables? They are like your cabbage, cauliflower, broccolis, black oil. All these are cruciferous vegetables which help your liver health get better strength, right? So having all these in the food will help with the flushing out of whatever's already inside. It's always true, right? Prevention is better than cure. Use steel containers instead of choosing plastic ones, though they are of the highest grade, because maintenance in a busy lifestyle is quite difficult of plastic material, right? Using wooden chopping boards instead of plastics. Use glass storage units, right? They are really helpful in storing fresh ingredients, right? Fresh and the dry ingredients. And instead of plastic cups, use ceramic cups, use glass and steel water bottles, or even better, use a cookware, a steel cookware, which will help you with cooking healthy and tasty meal for your family. Because it's noted that Teflon coated non-stick vessels need to be changed every 6 months, or even better, even when there's a small scratch. Not all of us sit and wash our vessels. We give it to the house help who does it. But again, there's no sure assurance that they are going to use the safest and the slowest way of washing your vessels versus using a vessel which is going to give a more durability in the steel will really help you overcome this challenge. Even better, how do we minimize this exposure, not only for us, but for the people around us and for the entire universe? There's a lot of microplastics that are already, a lot of plastics that are already in the ocean, right? And having so much of plastics in the ocean, it's actually coming out in different forms to the human race. So what we need to do is see how we can reduce these microplastics in our day-to-day living. Use wet dusting versus dry dusting, because when you're using dry dusting, again, it's going to be in the air and you're going to inhale it, right? And also using an air purifier with a HEPA filter. This is the best thing what you can use for filtering out even micro and nanoplastics from the air that you breathe inside your house. And use of biodegradable products, not only in the containers, but also for your washing of vessels or washing of clothes, for the household utensil uses. If you're using a biodegradable product, because all this will eventually get drained into the ocean, leading again to a lot of plastics. So hence, use of biodegradable products for your utensils, as well as for your washing and cleaning, right? And even best, waste segregation. Waste segregation, once it is done at your home, it's easier. It's done by someone else, it's a dirty job. Seriously, because when we put everything together, the person handling it might not handle it better. But when we are doing it, it's easier when it's in the primary source as such. Put your, in fact, a lot of vegetable things can be used for compost for your gardening as such. Or you can even segregate it and keep it so that people who are handling it can handle it in a better way, right? And with this, I am done. Thank you. And the best thing I can say is everything starts at home, starts with us, for a better universe and for a better tomorrow for ourselves and our children. Thank you.